Somebody was saying, Jack and Jill went up the hill is a negative poem. It talks about negativity. Why can't we say, Chidiya Rani, blah, 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 whatever things? So those things are that we, so if we get these multiple languages, I'm sure our students, our children, our next gen will become strong and better citizens. Another thing, the only point is we should not give them partial knowledge. If you acquire a language properly, you as it is become a better person. Any person, whether you speak Hindi, whether you speak Haryanvi, whether you speak Punjabi or Gujarati or Tamil or English, if you speak it properly, you acquire soft skills because each language is beautiful in its own part. So that's what we are talking about. Let's focus on languages right from the early years. Let them flow, and these students will excel in all languages. And when you acquire languages, more than one, your more than three, your brain works better, and you become a better person. That's what I would say. And rest, everything, like we are talking about assessments. How will we do assessments? Technology. Okay. How will we teach languages? Technology. How can we have teachers? Now, there was a lady who spoke about that we have our own households. We have got our own work to do. How will we acquire such a lot? A school can't have 200 teachers. So I'll tell you what thing. Teachers who taught us, okay, there the curriculum we used to change every decade, right, ma'am? Every decade it used to teach. Now it changes every year. Same teacher, same mother-in-law, same father-in-law, same husband, same kids, and same 24 hours. So how do you do that? You can't stretch your day, but all you can do is use technology and get things better. So what I would say again is if our teachers are made tech savvy, so if they are talking about training, there should be a component where we make our teachers tech savvy. Though during the pandemic they struggled. We have seen such a lot of good examples where there was a lady who tied up a mobile phone on a sling and then she was teaching. It has gone viral, but then she did it. So if all of us start thinking positive towards this, I'm sure this will happen. I'm open to questions when it comes to technology. I've worked with Microsoft as a teacher. I've worked with other companies where we have developed content. So I actually would promote that each one of us in our schools, what we normally do, we've got one technology person who rules the school. Each teacher goes to him and says, ye kar do, wo kar do, and he rules everything. Why not train the teachers into technology, not how to code, but how to use technology? And that's how I would rest my point here and wait for the other section. Thank you, Rajul. Rajul, are you there?
Thank you, Jaswinder sir. For that. So absolutely, in fact, I agree with you at some many part that language. After listening to so many educators during our last 90 sessions, I believe this is a welcome initiative. By the government of India, and you know uh, a lot of people believe this NEP is a program which is based upon one theme, that Indianization of our education system, to bringing back those old root those values of Indianness, I would say that. And with a perspective of global standards, with a perspective, but actually globally required those 21st century skills. So with this, we come to the last part of the session. We have received many questions from our different participants. So, before I start presenting these questions to our key speakers, I'll take a minute in explaining what exactly we have been doing at School Lalaji Solutions. And after that, I'll start presenting questions. So, please allow me to share my screen. I'll take a minute in that, and then, we'll start sharing questions. Some of you are already aware with School Lalaji Solutions. We are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in 42 cities, working with somewhere around 4,500 institutions. We primarily help educational institutions in three ways. We help them in buying the right thing from right people at right price. We also help them in selling their old items like their buses, their generators, their old furniture. We also help institutions in raising money. That may be in terms of fee financing or loan or in some other ways. Why there is a need for such kind of platform? You all these schools, all these institutions have old suppliers. You have your team is expert. You believe that you are getting good discounts. So why you need a platform like School Allergy Solutions? So two big challenges. One, that in India in last 10 12 years, thousands of new companies have come up with wonderful product and services. But it is very difficult for school leaders like Ruchi ma'am, or I would say for every school leader, you know, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to meet all those people, to understand their products in detail, to take the demonstration for everyone. You know, so here we come in. We understand your school, we understand your pace, we understand your actual requirement, your budgetary limitations, and then we connect you with the right people. We have expert people who who interact with a lot of companies on daily basis. They understand their product in detail, feature wise. We offer our solutions in different areas like smart class procurement, uniform insurance, diesel, solar plant, language lab, security solutions, furnitures, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEM, STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, or digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that will save at least your 5 to 7% expenditure. That's kind of a 5% additional revenue generation. One example, in 2019, we saved 2 crore 40 lakh rupees in bus insurance only for different education institutions. These are some major highlights. 8 megawatt plus solar installation, 3,000 plus bus insurance, 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training program, 56 old buses, uniform in 42 schools. So by the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So with this, I'll end my talk here, and I'll immediately start presenting questions.
I have one question.
I
So
would
this
request
place,
my main.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to understand the platform. So I heard Gunjan ma'am and other principals. So are you guys providing some kind of help to schools in implementing an EP solution to in the school? Like there are lots of small schools who don't have the expertise and who don't have that much of like interpretation knowledge of the NEP or anything that comes as new to the school. So is there any platform that you guys help other smaller schools?
Sir, if you want our support to discuss NEP, so this is a platform, Leadership Talks. You can join us. We are organizing, 6 sessions every
Mhm.
week. In coming time, that frequency will go up. So you can join our sessions. I have just shared an email ID there, info@iicworld.org. So you can write your details there. So we'll keep you inviting, for different sessions. So you can join us. And we are going to present a lot of questions now in next 15-20 minutes. So our experts, Ruchi ma'am, Gunjan ma'am, Bharti ji, Jaswinder ji, they are going to respond on those questions. So I'm sure this would help.
Yeah, just one more question. So, like all the things that we discussed, I don't remember the name, but uh, one of the ma'am that said in the beginning. So, uh, are those content like is available in one place that we can see and we can discuss together, or we
Uh,
have to come to you?
That See,
uh,
those the content, I did not get that point. But if you want to know like recordings for these sessions, so these are available over YouTube.
Hmm.
can I say
Okay.
something? Can I say
Yeah,
something?
please.
Yes, Ruchi
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. All this content is available. Like Mr. Singh was just talking about, the technology is the best part, Mr. Roy, and all
Hmm.
this data is available. And initially, when the policy was launched, they had the complete document. If you are not able to, maybe school allergy can help you, and any one of us can help you for that matter. We can download the policy page document and you can file this. And otherwise, on all forums, and otherwise, the newspapers have been talking about it. CBSE has given its own interpretation. So these would
Hmm.
be, the search engines, through Google search engines. You can look for the interpretations also, which will help you to decode the policy in the simplest terms. Otherwise, yes, the forum which this school allergy is providing, that would be best to understand one to one, with individuals, their thought process. But for your own intellectual reading, all this material is available. You can search and
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So, with this, Gunjan ma'am, I would request if I present the first question to you.
Yes, please.
The question has come from Ms. Kiran Yadav. Kiran Yadav ji is a PRT with Durga Prasad Vidya Niketan, Kanpur. The question says, which also, Gayatri ji also raised that part. How will this, flexibility in terms of choosing subjects or streams would create confusion before students? So, do you believe that the confusion would be there?
First
How do you
of
see that?
all, the flexibility with regard to choice of subjects is given for 11th and 12th. Until class, see, the entire concept was 10 plus 2 earlier, and the early education, the pre-primary education, especially in rural areas, was taken care of by Anganwadi, and Anganwadi was taken care of by Mahila and Bal Vikas Ministry. Now, these were not in sync with the MHRD. So now MHRD has taken control of everything, and the entire education system is, as everybody must have read, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So the first 5 years are with regard to the foundational development of the child, where numeracy and literacy, the basic literacy, is going to be paid attention to in fun-based learning. Here, flexibility is not the point. The point is that we should be able to ensure that by the time the child is ready for class 3, he should know basic reading, he should be able to read things, and basic addition subtraction must be known to the child. Now for class 3, 4, 5, which is also called the preparatory stage, again flexibility is with regard to the tools that you are using to ensure that the child is able to achieve the learning objective, and the learning objective must match the learning outcome for each session that is done with the child. So everything with the students of class 3, 4 and 5 would be done through activity based learning. So the flexibility is with regard to the strategies and the tools that would be used, and I have already mentioned that the content will be reduced, but again in 6th, 7th, 8th, more of experiential learning is going to be endorsed, wherein again content is reduced, but whatever content is decided by CBSE for class 6, 7th, 8th, we have to achieve that. Now, if the person who has asked the question wants to know about the flexibility thing, it is with regard to the choice of subjects that will happen in 11th and 12th. Now, I might be a science enthusiast, but still I want to know about the history of my country or the history of my city. So I have the liberty to take physics, chemistry with a subject like history, or perhaps with a subject like geography, so that I am able to enjoy learning. As Jaswinder ji also said, that we should be able to enjoy learning. So learning should not be a burden. That is why this flexibility is introduced, and it is also a way to show respect for the learner. So flexibility is possible wherein you want to choose what you want to learn. But once the content for a particular subject has been decided by CBSE, because we are CBSE schools, so we'll be able to speak better for them. So once the content has been decided, then you have to respect the content. Flexibility is not with regard to the choice of content of a particular subject. Am I able to clear the doubt?
Yes, yes, yes. You also cleared many other doubts, so thank you for that. Now I would request Ruchi ma'am, if I may present this question to you.
yeah.
This is about this has been asked by Miss Priyanka Tiwari. Priyanka ji is working with Hira Lal Patel International School, Kanpur. The question says, you know, what would be your perspective on that vocational inclusion? You know, how big challenge it would create for schools to arrange logistics in arranging trainers for those vocational programs. Ruchi ma'am.
Yeah, there's definitely, as I initiated my talk and I said that the entire policy execution is going to be very, very challenging. Yet at the same time, even today, if you see, we keep organizing these counseling sessions for children. Like just now, we were talking about the flexibility of the subject and all. where a lot of counseling needs to be done, especially after class 8, when the children are, traversing the path of choosing their career. We invite a lot of experts for their opinions and career guidances. So, as we discussed earlier, in the local cities itself, wherever these people are available, or wherever whatever arrangements we can make, which are best available to our own institute, and of course in the city itself, that can be used, of course, and utilized to its maximum. One thing. Second thing is CBSE has been talking about sharing the best practices and Sahodaya complexes, using each other's resources as well, the expert teachers and whatever is available to them can be used in a shared mode. Now, this particular thing, comes into play wherever we are facing such limitations. My school, if has certain XYZ, like I have a grand swimming pool here, or I have some good infrastructure about something where a child or a school needs that. The policy is also talking about, good private schools adopting schools which are, do not have those modern infrastructures. Now, if we work in alliance like this, and if these, tenets of this policy are put together, I'm sure we would be able to battle out this and make the best use of our infrastructure and each other's practices and infrastructure as well. Because this is also talking about, sharing teachers and experts and sending to each other's schools as resource persons also. So similarly, we can utilize this into vocational trainings of children also. So I think this would help. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So collaboration would be the key. If we can share
Yeah.
resources, if we can find, if we can reach out to other people, so that would be key. Thank you, Ruchi ma'am. And now I would request Gayatri ji. Uh, uh, Gayatri ji, if I may present this question to you, this has been asked by Miss Ananya Verma. She's a PGT with St. Aloysius Senior Secondary School, Jabalpur. Ananya ji's question says, what would be the key challenge for teachers in implementing this policy? So, if you can, Gayatri ji, can highlight some two key challenges as per your perspective, Gayatri ji. Gayatri ji, do we have you are on mute? If we have your presence. Okay, so I'll come back to Gunjan ma'am with this question, and then I'll go to Jaswinder sir. Gunjan ma'am, what would be two key challenges for teachers?
Okay, the two key challenges for teachers, first of all, but before we talk about challenges, let's salute the teachers, because the past 1 year has proven beyond doubt that teachers are capable of moving mountains. So nobody had expected the scenario that we witnessed the last year, when the teachers were all, people with no technology background, people who had absolutely no knowledge of technology could do the impossible. So now that we have already appreciated the teachers, the two key challenges, first of all, is training. A lot of training is required, because when we talk of experiential learning and competency based learning, uh, although CBSE is conducting such trainings for all CBSE schools, and we are at liberty to enroll for the same, then people like you are also trying to ensure that people are sensitized about what is expected of the new education system that is just around the corner. So a lot of training is required, and then the teachers have to counsel the parents also. That is also one of the challenges for teachers, because when the teacher says, wow, shabash, tumhe bahut achhi leadership skill hai, and you are going to rock, the parent will say, pata to hai nahi kuch, aap kaise keh rahi hain ki acha hai. So a lot of counseling for parents, and keeping in sync with the expectation of the parents, because we cannot, parents are a very important stakeholder. So we cannot go ahead without the cooperation of parents. The teachers, yes, have to ensure that they get the right training. They need to do a lot of self research, like self study also. A lot of research has to be done at the end of the teachers also. And we have so much of literature all around. And like, we are attending your webinar, a number of our teachers are attending your webinar, so they would also be sensitized. So they have to keep pace with the latest learning techniques that are emerging. Then they have to make sure Diksha portal has been arranged by CBSE. There are a number of portals by Shikshawani, Diksha portal, and CBSE has been doing a lot of work to ensure that teachers are trained, rigorous. They are trying to train teachers at a war footing, I would say. So
Right.
training and counseling parents and making effort to ensure that you are in sync with what is expected of you by the new technology, by the new system, and of course keeping the parents pacified. So all these things would be challenges. Children, I'm sure, would not pose much of challenges because they'll enjoy this new style of learning.
True.
Right, right. Thank you, Gunjan ma'am. And I would request Jaswinder sir. Sir, even during our last many sessions, we realized that many people ask this question: are we going to see English is going to get diluted? Like you are an expert, you are an authority of in that part. So, what is your idea, your assessment? Are we going to see the more dilution for English?
Okay, so let me point out one very important thing. Nowhere does the policy say that the school cannot teach in English. They have an option of teaching in the local language. Now, this is going to be more implemented more in the in the rural and the semi-rural section areas. Okay. Now, how it is going to help there? You have a lot of teachers who can teach in the local language but cannot teach in English. They will come in there. So what will happen is the places where we have less teachers, where we have teachers are not available, you will get teachers, but you will also have to see to it that English is given its due importance. Right? They cannot say that English, the students can start acquiring English from sixth standard because that is too late. Okay, so it will not lose its shine because everybody knows, including those parents in the rural sector, that their kids need to know English. That is why they spend more money and send them to English medium schools. So that is not going to happen. English is not going to lose out its shine or something, but our local languages will become more prominent, and students will not be afraid and teachers will not be afraid in teaching. That is one thing. But schools will have to see to it that they do not push English aside. That is something that will go wrong, and kids will never ever maaf nahi karenge. That's what I would say. As if you go uh, 10 years from now, they'll say what the hell was done, why was this done? Okay, because now, like we are saying, is the world is becoming smaller. Like we are saying, international universities are going to come to India. Yes, they are going to come to India. It's going to be 100 of them, but 1,000 of our universities to survive will go to their levels. Competition brings in better quality. So that is going to happen, and that's all going to be in English. Second, we are not sure that we will be able to create a Hindi Google or a Tamil Google or a Sanskrit Google, right? So that stuff which is there, which is research based, students should have that language. So I don't think that is going to be there. But there's one thing that I'm worried about. Okay, working with so many schools, talking to so many teachers, parents, principals, I have realized, not me, everybody's realized, reading is not happening. Ma'am, you just picked up a point on reading. It is very important that reading habits are inculcated. I have made a document. I'm doing a big project with government of Gujarat of bringing books to kids. Okay, so what we have done is we have created a digital library. Normally, you give a book that goes to the child at home, no guarantee whether it's read. So what we've done is we've created a repository of 150 books for English medium schools. These books from the teacher, they can push it to a child. The child can open it on a mobile phone. He can listen to this. When you listen to something, you speak better. Then what we say, okay, now you have to read. So for reading, you have to record it. So when they record it, the recorded thing comes back to the teacher, goes to the parents. So you motivate them. So these are the things that we need to bring in. Again, घूम फिर के मैं technology पे आता हूँ, that if we use technology, a lot of our problem will be solved, including this, that how can we have multiple languages? Believe me, if a child, okay, let me talk about my wife. I'm married to a Gujarati from Chennai. She speaks Gujarati, she speaks Tamil, she speaks Punjabi because she got married to me. She speaks Hindi, she speaks English. Now imagine if she can speak 5 languages. Kids of today's age, why can't they? You just need to expose them, right? And again, technology. Games खेल रहे हैं, let them play games in different languages. If they're reading things, let them read in different languages. I'm not talking about library of only English books. Hindi mein books hai. We are getting library for Sanskrit books. So we've actually divided that. So because once you start reading, you start liking that subject also or that language. So giving back to this, first, all languages should be given due importance. English, I don't think it will lose its shine. But again, a word of caution. We need to see to it that it doesn't lose also. Because it all depends on us as educationists. Kids will do what we ask them to do. So we as educationists will do. Parents are always going to come कि नहीं अंग्रेजी तो चाहिए. Otherwise, why not give him to send him to a government school? So that's what my answer would be, Rajulji. But one thing more I wanted to talk about. Nobody has picked up this point anywhere that इतने सारे बच्चों को enroll करने के लिए do we have the infrastructure, right? They're saying that we need to add 2 crore more students, kids. They're talking about opening 50 new schools every week. This is not possible. Why not allow schools to run in 2 shifts? You will give more employment within that same infrastructure. So that what the government has stopped. And for your information, they have given CBSE has given permission to one school in Ahmedabad to run 2 shifts of CBSE, morning and afternoon. So that is possible. They should be looking at it, and I'm sure they're looking at it. Over to you, Rajulji.
Thank you, Justin sir. But I believe, and I would request Ruchi ma'am and Gunjan ma'am to share more inputs on that. But I believe many schools, even the past, they were running 2 shifts. I have the information about few schools. I'm not sure because I never did any research about it. But I believe many schools were already running many shifts in the past. But that would be a good initiative if it gets formalized.
But
With this, I just would like to check, Gayatri ji, if we have your presence. I see that you logged out and log in again to remove the technical glitch. Gayatri ji, are you here?
Yes, I'm present now.
Right, Gayatri ji. So, Gayatri ji, this question has come from Miss Preeti Sikarwar. She's a teacher with SRVS Sikandarpur, Chandauli, Uttar Pradesh. The question says how we can improve our education system in rural part of country. So, if you can suggest two ideas, any 2 ideas, Gayatri ji,
Yes,
क्या
sir.
करना चाहिए?
I'll talk about this question. First of all, imparting education in the rural areas itself is a challenge because the people present in the rural areas are themselves not literate enough to understand what exactly is the meaning of actual education and how this education will improve their lives in the long duration. So first we have to make those people understand that education is important. First they need to recognize that how important it is to increase their way of living and how it is going to help them in the long run. Now, two suggestions to improve the education in the rural areas would be that if the schools of urban areas counsel or help in some kind of providing some kind of aids to these rural areas where where schools are there, like the rural schools. So the initiative has to come from the urban schools and the government, most importantly. So I know the government has not has taken up steps uh, to establish a lot of rural schools in the backward areas, but still there needs to be still infrastructure needs to be developed over there. Then the teachers problem, like most of the teachers are going to the urban areas for employment in the teaching sector. So I believe that they should be retained in the rural areas itself to improve the education over there. Yeah, so those were the 2 points. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Gayatri ji, for that. And before I come to our speakers for your concluding remarks, I would request Ruchi ma'am. Ruchi ma'am, Gayatri ji during her talk said that and in fact, a lot of educators believe that there is a huge challenge, with related to the communication with parents. So Gayatri ji shared one example, like it would be a challenge for teachers or for schools to explain different kind of assessments, to parents. तो ऐसी ऐसी क्या वजह है कि पेरेंट्स को नहीं हम समझा पाते? एंड व्हाट वुड बी योर सजेशंस कि अगर कोई असेसमेंट बच्चों के अच्छे के लिए किया गया, so what would be the challenge? Why parents are not willing to understand? So you are the educator who have seen this education system closely for decades. So Ruchi ma'am, over to you for your comments.
Well, see, when we talk of the changes happening, and we always say changes are constant in one's life. So, people, you need to give these changes in piecemeals. you cannot just thrust them across to anybody for that matter. Like even NEP has come and we are decoding it in so many ways. We are understanding, we are breaking it, and then we are talking about it and seeing how we will implement. And when we all come together on such forums, it becomes very, very encouraging. Now, for a parent or for an education policy, or where only the number system has been working so far, the ranks, my child coming first, the scholar badges, and all these things, we've battled this, aggressively. Because for a parent, what matters is numbers, rank, positions, and where my child stands. My neighbor's child is a doctor or engineer. He's completed his BTech, where my son is going. Now, these comparison modes have always been on with the parents. Now things are changing, like Gunjan ma'am earlier said, that we could only relate to professions like engineering or medicines or being lawyers, because these were the respectable professions. But today, if you see, if you talk about an individual becoming an event manager or a content writer or a content developer, so these are happening career options for children. And gradually, people of our age group are able to connect to this. And now, when we are sitting on these seats, we are able to explain this in a better manner to our parents, of course. So, here, the role of a teacher, an educationist, or the principal, or the coordinators, the psychologist, whosoever, they need to answer different variables in terms of this new kind of assessment. We need to break them into easy piecemeals for parents to understand. And of course, it will not be that challenging now. If you talk to my father today, of course, he would not understand something called a content developer or a writer. But I myself, being his daughter, started this work and has done this work. So now I can explain to my next generation this in a better manner. So what are we doing as counselors? That is very, very important. And of course, we need to, as I always said, in one of the workshops, somebody was taking this workshop on defining a vision. He said that you must always write the end, that what you visualize out of something, what is your perspective ki hame last mein kya dekhna hai. Then you start defining a vision. So we need to show that bigger picture to an individual, to bring them on the same page and consensus when a child is using something extraordinary or different from the league. So I think our role would be very challenging, and of course, and we have to interpret this and make them understand in the most easiest, easiest form that we can. So,
Right.
thanks.
Thank you, Ruchi ma'am, for that. I again thank all our key speakers. Now, time for the concluding remarks. I would request all our speakers if we can have your concluding remarks. We have also established a practice. So, while giving your concluding remark, I would request if you can also share one idea. If you become, let's say, if you get a chance to become Minister of Education of our country, let's say for one day. So, आप उस एक दिन में, what would be your priority? कि आप वो कहीं ये तो काम करना है. So, I'll come to people randomly. So, Gayatri ji, I'll begin with you. You know, you're the youngest education leader among all the participants here. So, I'm sure your idea would be absolutely different. So, Gayatri ji, over to you. What would be? I would request first for your concluding remark, and then what would be your idea as Minister of Education, apart from that additional charge of Minister of Law?
Yeah, sure. I'll give my remark as Minister of Law as well. Thank you. So, in my concluding remark, I would just state that the policy, no doubt, as we have all established by now, that it is a good policy and we have to adapt to it, like if in case it is implemented. Now, like the factors that I spoke about, they have to be kept into consideration because these are the factors which are quite indispensable, which will impact the policy immensely. The willingness of the stakeholders uh, is of very much importance because we have to see that the parents, all the community is actually willing to take up this challenge. Then secondly is the effectiveness of the training because the whole MEP depends upon it. If we see that there is a huge link, there is a chain of training that has been established by the board. First of all, we have to train the trainers, then the trainers in turn will train the teachers, then the teachers are supposed to implement it in the classroom. So this factor is very important that might affect the implementation, and this policy might backfire because of this, if it is not it does not happen smoothly. And lastly, again, infrastructure has been a problem since decades in India. If we see that there is a budget allocation by the ministry in this sector, but that budget allocation is not adequate if we see to again to bring an overnight change in the infrastructural enhancement of the college, schools and colleges. If we see a lot of schools in the cities, they're already so packed that they lack the capacity to expand further. So those schools need to be taken into account, especially the city schools, because they don't have the requisite area to expand further. So what kind of infrastructural enhancement are we talking about in the policy needs to be clarified first. Like what kind of infrastructural changes we are talking about, how much of investment it would require, and then we can talk about the curriculum part, and the secondary part, I would say, is the curriculum and the pedagogical part. So that would be my concluding remark. And as the minister, as an education minister, I would first of all seek to have a proper budget in line that can be actually allocated for this section, and then see about then have a comprehensive policy, like a clarification to this policy, to the current policy, so that the implementation goes on smoothly, and to have assessment standards at every phase, so that we can take a feedback of all the stakeholders that are present in this policy, so that it can run smoothly and we can make it a grand success. So thank you. Sir, you are
You're on
muted.
mute. You're on mute, Rajul ji.
Sorry. So Gayatri ji, thank you for that. You said like you will organize a lunch meeting with the finance minister and ask him to increase the budget, and that would so. Thank you for that, Gayatri ji, and we have high hope with the young education leaders like you. And big thanks. Now I would request Jaswinder sir, if I may ask you your concluding remark and what would be your idea as Minister of Education.
Okay. So my concluding remark would be, for success of any person as a business person or as a professional or somebody who's working, if you look at the chart, the 35% is knowledge and 65% is soft skills. So please, we all need to focus on soft skills. Okay. That includes language and the things related to that. That is something that we need to focus right from the beginning. I have worked with a lot of universities. I am on panels with certain universities where when we go and talk to them, they say we have got 2 sessions of 1 hour each to teach them soft skills. Soft skills can't be taught, they have to be acquired. It is over the years. So we need to do, and if we teach them soft skills, they will become better and they will not be mischievous one. Though being naughty is good, okay, being mischievous is good, but in its limits. So that is one thing I would say, that this is my concluding remark. Very rightly said by ma'am that arts was not taken up properly, but now today humanities has more value. You do not get seats in humanities, but you get in engineering now, because they've realized that it has, so good, it is happening. There's so many professions that can be done, so that is happening. But I would somewhere want to say that proper focus on language and soft skills should be taken up one. Going back to what I would do if I were to be a minister, I've always found one thing. Even if you look at what I have in my mind, or what anybody talks about, is it talks about a change. The government will get the infrastructure, it's only money. They will get policies, their brains. But the people who are going to implement, teachers, they are very important. So if I am set to be the minister of education, I would make teachers as the first class citizens of a country. Money is okay, it's coming in, but that respect is important. How will you attract good talent? हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है? If nothing else, become a teacher. Oops, one day you become a teacher. No, by choice you want to be, should be a teacher. So that will happen when there's the respect got into that. So I have a proposition to all of you. I have a request. I'm on a mission. I would like to share my screen. Am I allowed that?
Yes, sir. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
I'll just take it up. I've kept that ready. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen, sir.
Okay. So what I'm talking about here is, okay, so let me go on to this thing, that what I want is, I want that all doctors have got a DR written before them. All engineers have an ER written with them. All chartered accountants have a CA written before them. Why can't we have a ED written before our name? Why can't we be acknowledged? Why can't people know that we are educators? We demand this. So, as educators, I would respect, or I would request all of you to start with this. I am, without taking your permission, I've taken this liberty of saying, ma'am, why can't we have this? Gunjan ma'am, Ruchi ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, why can't we have this? Let the world know what we are talking about. Let the world understand what we are talking about. And I'm sure we will be able to make a difference. We need to demand that recognition so that the right kind of people come in, so that we get respected. And believe me, if we are respected, we will not do anything wrong. There are teachers who do wrong. But if I am not looked up properly in the way I demand or should be, I may do wrong. But if I'm respected, a normal Indian human will never do wrong. So please be with me on this mission. Request you to start asking your teachers to write ED before them. If you could also write that, this will change. This government is not going to work on that. They are not bothered. Had they been bothered, they would have helped us during the pandemic. See what the teachers have done. I've taught 25,000 teachers myself on technology, right? I know how difficult it is for them to even, start Windows. But imagine using Android and doing video conferencing and planning and preparing and doing PPTs, cooking with one hand, reading a book. We deserve this. So my request, if you would all help me in doing this, this will be a great cause towards our fellow teachers, our fellow educationists. I end my this thing that, yes, if you make me the minister, I will have this ED done, but I know I can't do it. So together, let's do that, and let's make teachers the first citizens of our country, like the other world does. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. So I believe the before we expect the support from government, we must start believing ourselves that teachers are the first, citizen. They are. They are. So thank you, Jaswinder sir, for that. Now I would request, uh, you know, uh, Gunjan ma'am,
Yes,
if
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
your concluding remark, and if you become the Minister of Education, so what would be your idea, Gunjan ma'am?
Quite a number of my ideas have already been mentioned by Gayatri ma'am and Jaswinder ji, that yes, the social status of teachers has to improve. And as education minister, I would be committed to ensure that they are treated as first class citizens. I second what Jaswinder ji said. Then, of course, the GDP, the budget allocation has to be looked into, because at present, I think we are hardly spending 2%. The new education policy says that somewhere around 6% would be spent on education, but I think a little more has to be spent. But in many ways, I'll follow the education minister Gunjan Mehrotra would follow in the footsteps of Ramesh Chandra Pokhriyal ji as well, because coming up with the new education policy is a very bold step. And as Ruchi ma'am said, that we should be very clear with what we envision. So as education minister, my vision with regard to education has to be very, very clear. And I have to keep trying to ensure that my clarity is percolates down to all the peripherals who are related to the education system, and everybody is able to work at the same wavelength, and so that we are all successful. As education minister, this new education policy, its implementation, its success, and a good feedback, receiving of a good feedback would be my priority. And I would like to mention one thing which somehow I wanted to speak, but I missed it. The MHRD is now known as the Education Ministry, so that itself is a manifestation of one step towards, respecting the people related with education, because human resource is like treating human beings like a resource. But when you say just like a resource, but when you say it's education ministry, perhaps you are giving a little more, you're being a little
Status.
more sensitive. You are thinking of living, breathing people who have some sensibility, who can make a difference. So this is a good step. It's a remarkable step. And this present government, there might be a number of complaints. We are always, we are up in arms against the government. We have so many things to complain about. That is one side of the story. But then when we speak about the education system, when we analyze the situation as educationists, this is a good step. And as an education minister, I'm completely for it. And thank you so much to all panelists. I've learned a lot from each one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gunjan ma'am. Now, with this, I would request Ruchi ma'am. Your concluding remarks and your idea as Minister of Education. And as you said, like we need to see the end. We need to define the end. So, what would be that end that you would like to define for all of us that we should visualize? So, Ruchi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much again. And of course, before giving my closing remark, I would just share that as a child, maybe that is why I'm into education. That as a child, my mom tells me I always used to sit with that stick and used to teach children in my home. So whether they
Plant.
were like my cousins or even like today we talk of, adapting, somebody underprivileged and teaching the domestic help that was at home that time and they were always living there in the premises. So I used to catch hold of their children and teach them. 2 days they used to study, and third day, they used to run away. Then again, I used to sit with a stick and ensure that they've done the work, and I used to give my old notebooks to them. So I was doing this in my own home, in my personal room, and catching hold of them and teaching them. So, why I'm sharing, where my concluding remarks are that I resonate with this policy of education for all. So, I want that this should be practically implemented. I don't know. And then I believe in empowering each child and making each child capable, because somehow, sometimes after reaching here also, when I fall short of words, I feel that it's claustrophobia. Somebody is uh, I don't know, I can't explain. So similarly, when I see somebody picking up a piece of paper not being able to read or speak, it personally hurts me. So I don't know, I'm just sharing. So maybe as a passionate educationist, I really want to see each child in my country at least educated and literate, capable and empowered. So I would, and definitely, if I'm given the opportunity to share, since Gunjan ma'am just saying, are of the same opinion, I think we'll be in the same cabinet sometime and maybe bring a reform system. And yes,
That's
teaching
great, ma'am.
should be the highest profession, of course, the highest paid profession,
Yes.
and it should be the most respectable profession. Because recently, if you've seen, there was a statement from Mr. Manish Sisodia saying कि सारे problems का उपाय classroom से ही निकलता है. So if that is so, then let's be empowered and let's make education the most respected and the highest paid profession, because from there everything else branches out. So
Absolutely.
that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi ma'am, for that. And absolutely, all solutions come from the classroom. So, they can be sorted out if classrooms become better, with that. So with that note, we'll end today's session. A big thanks to all the key speakers, Gunjan ma'am, Ruchi ma'am, Gayatri ji, Jaswinder sir, and all the participants for joining us. And big thanks for making this 91st session truly special one. Thank you all. This is the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure
Thank
being
you.
with
Thank
you all,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, all of
Pleasure
you.
being.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.